Welcome to Cryptid Technical. Please enjoy your stay. It's probably permanent. As you navigate the halls of our, home, our technicians will provide you guidance. Stay out of all the Wendigo's bedroom and don't accept directions from Granny. And all these snacks are off limits. Enjoy.
Heyo! It's your boys. Andrew. Still a werewolf. And I got my chew toy.
That squeaky toy, man, starting to drive me nuts. I have silver. I can't end it right now.
No, you need to cure my ass.
That was Ninja, and I am the also irritated CJ.
Well, maybe if that octopus worked. But no, we didn't have the sacrifices that we need to because you ended the episode too
I will
early.
say, at least you don't lick your nuts at 3 a.m.
Little do you know what my capabilities are and are not of licking.
He's become more flexible, becoming a werewolf.
Hell yeah. Did you see my freaking six-pack abs?
It's been doing them crunches, man.
Hell yeah. That's the only benefit of werewolf-esque whatever.
I've got a spray bottle for the mantises. We might have to use it on you.
I'm going to spray some shit in your face with my penis. Piss.
You better pay for that.
Nah.
That shit don't come free.
Yeah, it's $1.50.
Listen, footsies is free. Beyond that,
Cross your face.
He's
With
just
my-
mad because he got
with
slapped
my
with the
claw.
short tentacle.
damn.
You know what $1.50 is?
Damn, you got slapped with the short tentacle.
I'm going to scratch your face for $1.50. On the streets. Hard. That's when you cut someone from ear to mouth. Street hard. Streets. Getting hard
So-
with them streets.
I'm really not feeling a Koro Kamui is the appropriate cure.
Yeah, I'm still pissed off at a goddamn werewolf.
There's a really big pool in the backyard now, though. I would not recommend swimming, however.
It is my feces.
No wonder that thing slapped him with the short tentacle.
Yeah,
Oh,
you got what you deserved.
Damn.
you're gonna
And
get-
that's why she didn't heal you.
Look, do you want 3 werewolves for this show? Because I'm willing to bite.
We need a more drastic cure.
I'm biting. I'm
I
biting.
told you I have silver.
Before we well, you know what? I'm gonna hit up somebody I know to get that
Mm.
cure arranged. But before I do that,
Bite you.
let's get the answer for this week's truth or trash.
Freaking jerk talking to me, making me do things, and I'm just wondering how. Okay, hold on. Well, this week for truth or trash, we put it out there. We got the votes, maybe, but here is what was said: the father of the Jersey Devil, also known as Satan's Harbinger, was declared dead and resurrected. Which to promote Benjamin Franklin's Poor Richard's Almanac. Truth or trash? What do y'all think?
We already went over the fact that we are not permitted to answer our own questions.
We're not allowed to vote.
Oh. What was the answer to this question? Wow. I'm gonna go with trash.
Mm. Yeah, trash. Seems like a...
Is truth.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
Yes.
Shows how much we know.
Benjamin Franklin was a good shit talker and declared that Titan Leaks, which is the name of the father of the Jersey Devil, would die in 1733. He's like, well, it's 1733 and I didn't die. And Benjamin Franklin's like, oh, look, it's a ghost. And you resurrected. That's how you're talking right now. And he's like, that doesn't make sense. It's like, nope, you're a ghost. And he died 5 years later.
Benjamin Franklin, the original troll.
Yep.
Yeah.
5 years later, he died. And everyone's like, man, why didn't he get resurrected again? Because he totally died 5 years prior. Yeah. Truth.
Interesting.
But if you want to learn more, check out our Jersey Devil episode. Season 1. Squeak.
All right, so we got somebody coming over. Andrew, this is going to be a little drastic. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
I don't know. I'm liking the hair.
We called in the fairies. The Fae are on the way.
We don't have enough. We don't have enough. We're you know what? If we have to sacrifice something, I'm looking at Ninja.
I was going to say we could trade Ninja.
Yeah. Okay, good. Handshake on that.
He's sort of a fairy.
Handshaked.
I mean, I do have superpowers. I defy physics and gravity.
Is that werewolf still here?
Yeah, we could trade that.
Yeah.
We could try.
As long as it's not me.
So,
Hell, you can get rid of that freaking unicorn for
I was leaving
bringing it.
silence for the transition, you butt.
You could trade that unicorn.
Yeah. You went. Let's trade her.
Yeah.
HR might not appreciate that.
I
Are you
enjoy
still
the
dating?
unicorn.
Are you still dating the HR?
She doesn't appreciate the extra hair in Squeaky Toy.
So you're not dating anymore?
We are on a temporary hiatus until I can get back to normal.
His house is like a high school classroom. She only loves you for your looks?
Squeak.
I understand that. Sexiest man on the show.
It's true.
Anyway.
Thank you.
I
I
just think
appreciate
it's a squeaky
I
toy.
appreciate that. I appreciate you. Looks like one person's not getting bit, Ninja. It's you. You're getting bit. I'm gonna bite
Getting
you.
bit from the werewolf
He
downstairs.
likes getting bit.
Oh, damn. All right. You're not getting bit.
I don't really have that preference.
He likes getting bit on his wee-wee.
That just sounds painful.
Speaking about wee-wees,
Lore and mythology.
This may actually surprise some people, but fairy comes from the French word.
Suck me blue.
So we have like the you have the
Yeah.
American spelling for fairy, which is Fairy, but the French word is Faerie, which I have seen multiple times in fantasy books, genre games, tabletops. That's how I always have seen it spelt. And I just realized that like in old stories, I would see fairy spelt with the Y, but maybe since I was 12 and started reading more adult material. Not, listen, you sick perverts. I mean, like,
Actually-
like the Forgotten Realms series and whatnot, they don't spell fairies with Y.
I think the book series I have actually spells it that way. The IE. Because you remember the
Well, but the term fairy is such an abused, like, just overused word.
yes,
because
fairy.
There are so many things lumped into the word fairy, where you have things like the fairy from the Tinkerbell from Peter Pan, this little tiny micro thing
She was a pixie.
with wings.
That's what she looked like anyway. Said she was a fairy.
Well, with wings and whatnot, and with fairy dust and whatever, which is sort of kind of accurate. But what?
oh, very.
Yeah.
Hey, I
but-
just got a haircut. That's just
So we have this tiny thing.
hair coming off.
We
my head.
have the main description, which I'm not going to go over right this second. Then we have things like changelings and leprechauns, and there's so many. There's so many. It's ridiculous. A bunch of different wood sprites could be called fairies, and often are in traditional folklore stories. Everything from stories from the Native Americans to Old English to Roman. Like, there's so many things that end up getting called a fairy, and it's just not a fairy.
I think it's just small mythological creatures. Everyone's like, that's a fairy. Yeah, what about that thing? Yep, that's a fairy too.
Well, it's because fairies come from the Greek word daimon, which means spirit. So they are spirits, sort of, but not in that traditional sense. Like, the actual fairy is a fairly tall individual, sometimes portrayed with butterfly wings. They can be up to 6 feet. a number of years ago, and I just remembered this now. I didn't remember at the time I was doing research, but somebody claimed to have found a fossilized fairy of like this very tall individual with large arthropodish wings.
Hmm.
So there was that. We'd have to look that link up and read that story. I don't really remember it. But there's this real fairy tale, traditional story way of thinking in the modern day of fairies is these tiny things that are benevolent and they do cute stuff and they transform you into a princess and make sure you're home by midnight and whatever. Right? Not true. Fairies are dicks.
Mm-hmm.
They suck. They're mean. They're vicious. They do fucked up things to people. Sometimes they do really messed up shit for the lulz,
Yeah, they're very mischievous.
just to entertain themselves. They make portals and things called fairy rings. If anybody is familiar with the fairy ring, if not, it's basically a circle of flowers and mushrooms that fairies are used to transport themselves between our world and theirs.
The actual term, when you see a circle of mushrooms, is legit a fairy ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's known for being real. Not like you can teleport or whatever, but like that's what the term of a grouping like that would be.
Yeah. Like, what's crazy too is things like elves and Valkyries can also be considered fairies. That bothers me.
That is an interesting.
So it's like all fae-like things?
Yeah, anything that's like a spirit or anything that's sort of fayish, magical in nature, you can call a fairy, and it bugs me. It bugs me a lot. Check
So
double check.
Odin has a bunch of fairies around.
Married one.
Yeah. They ride around on their trusty steeds.
The thing, and fairies also have, in a lot of time, they're not just land or air, like they're everywhere. Land, air, sea, mountains, deserts. Fairies are everywhere.
Mhm.
I lost my train of thought.
They've been in
You did blank out. You had your
every
face.
every culture out there has some type of fairy.
Which is also very similar to dragons.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like there are stories of these things, and I can't really go into a lot of these stories without poaching on Andrew's territory, so I'm not going to. But fairies will also make deals with people, and oftentimes you will pay way more for your side than what they're going to give you, and oftentimes, sort of like the stories of like Jinn or Genie, which I guess you could technically classify as a fairy, they will twist it and not give you what you asked for at all. Because they think it's funny. Because they like to fuck you over. Because they suck.
Yeah.
That's why we're digging deep to cure Andrew.
Because they're annoyed at my squeaking.
So I guess we're getting into Tinkerbell for this.
No. If it was Tinkerbell, we'd all get flying powers and we would be good to go. No. We're calling in the jackasses of the spirit world.
Darn.
I keep losing my train of thought so bad.
Yeah. I thought you were transitioning.
No, it's because I have so many notes on these things, and so much of this blends lore and mythology with pop culture
Oh, that's fine.
and
Yeah, I
whatnot. And it's
Everywhere.
I'm trying to pick and choose what I'm going to talk about. Something fairies are known for is kidnapping humans, especially children. Oftentimes, they will send changelings into the real world to replace human children, and they'll take these human children to the Fae world to be slaves.
That reminds me. Should we actually get the changeling to ask him about how that happened?
No, he's on my poop list right now.
Yeah, okay.
He's going
mean-
through a stage of doesn't want to listen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what better person to get, information upon the fairies that delivered him?
I called him the other day and I went, "Hey, come here," and he looked me dead in the face and said, "No."
Okay, then.
He's at that stage.
The no stage. That's
Yep.
always fun.
Everything's no. It's But anyway, that's the basic thing. Fairies, they're tall. They got big old wings. They're dickheaded. They possess the ability to grant wishes via magic. Oftentimes, they screw it all up for you, make you pay an exceedingly high price to fuck yourself over. They come through portals called Fae rings. And they're not easy to fight, which we'll get to later. So we're going to move into...
Hidden in plain sight.
Real life. Did it. Oops. Real life. You have the Cottingley Fairies, which were supposedly photos of actual fairies, small and winged, not the other kind, in 1917. A number of celebrities got caught up in the hype of them before the cousins who took the photos confessed that they were actually fake. They claimed that they had seen actual fairies. One cousin actually admitted that the one photo, which was the lowest quality, was real. This also served inspiration for 2 films in 1997, Photographing Fairies and Fairy Tale, A True Story. You do have, what is it, gypsy moths? Or something that people mistake for fairies? Or
yeah, it's because of the broad wings and the designs on the backs of them.
Yeah. Those are big enough that they have that appeal to them. Realistically, they look like the fairies in that sense.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, the lore and mythology section really blends with culture.
Yeah.
Because this isn't like something where people are like, oh, hey, I saw a fairy, and then there's like reports in the newspaper. Like, there's extravagant stories that get turned into movies and board games and books, and just and standard folklore. Everybody's got stories, and
Yes.
it's impossible to really go over basic lore and mythology without really treading on the cultural section.
Yes. I don't mind you jumping in there for that, because I do want to squeak my squeaky toy a few times. But we'll go into the films. So Disney, this is their bread and butter.
Oh, it's like almost every single movie.
You have Cinderella, which was the fairy godmother.
Pinocchio.
Yep, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty had multiple of them fairies. You have Wizards of Strange Magic from Disney. Or sorry, those aren't Disney. Strange Magic Wizards are 2 separate films that are animated. Live action, you have Fairy Tale, A True Story, which I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Labyrinth, with the R.I.P. Mr.
Pagemaster had a fairy book in it.
Yes.
It did.
Leaping Leprechauns had fairies in it, in addition to leprechauns. Pan's Labyrinth, you said. Willow, which
Yeah,
is the same universe as Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Maleficent, the fairies identified as a creature that inhabits the moors.
Here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Will we consider the flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz to be fae?
Or
Or would that be way too much of a stretch?
I guess that would make the orang batty a fae then.
That doesn't feel like a big stretch, though.
I guess.
Well, it doesn't have magic. But the fact that he doesn't have magic makes him the most believable fae we're going to talk about on this show.
I mean, I think it's a bit of a stretch. I mean, flying monkeys with no magical powers.
Yeah.
Koru Kamui.
Kakaru. Kikukakaku.
Koru Kamui could have totally been technically like a sea fae.
Yeah, the
True.
so
It's such a broad term. It just encompasses
is,
yeah.
so much. Fucking Lucky Charms has a fae on the front of it.
spoilers. No, I was gonna go to that then. So Barbie also has her own little fairy secret club where she's a fairy with a bunch of Barbies or other fairies.
Sky Dancers would have been one.
Yeah. Fairly Odd Parents is all about fairies. Fairy godparents.
Yeah, that's like this like. Let's speculate for a minute because I wasn't able to find like a definitive like where fairies went from being these assholes. Like they were back in Greek mythology, there were satyrs and nymphs
Yeah.
and things like that,
Mhm.
and they are traditionally not cool with people.
Satyrs aren't. No.
No, they don't like
Nah.
us.
No.
And those were your fairies. And then how did we go from these creatures that really they hate us and they love screwing up our lives to these benevolent things that, oh, I'm your fairy godmother. I'm going to take your miserable life and make it fantastic because you've earned it for sweeping these stone floors and getting your butt kicked. How did we get there?
I don't know.
I wasn't able to find any deliberate transition that like this was the author that started the fad. I wasn't able to do it.
I mean, Disney was a huge thing of turning asshole things into happily ever after, but
But we're also talking like this was back in Midsummer's Night with the William Shakespeare play. The
Okay.
fairies in that,
yeah.
and they let me check my notes real quick, but I'm pretty sure that they weren't evil.
Midsummer's
I don't think they
Night
were.
Dream. Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah.
The Fae folk. Yeah.
They had Oberon, Titania, and Puck.
Yep.
And yeah, no, like they weren't evil really.
No.
They were maybe mischievous at times, but they weren't evil. So we're going back way before the early 1900s. So I'm really wondering, like, was it William Shakespeare that did this? It wouldn't be.
No, there had to be other stories.
It wouldn't shock me, to be honest with you, because a lot of the phrases and stuff we use nowadays, he coined. We say a lot of William Shakespeare lines without realizing that we're saying them.
Well,
So
he made over 100 words.
oh yeah,
Like he actually made, because he's like, there's a word that describes this situation that's not existing, so I'm gonna make it. So continuing on while you're looking, you have why I keep on saying you have Gravity Falls, My Little Pony, Sophia the First, which is one of the 3 good fairies from Maleficent. So Maleficent
Okay.
herself was a fairy. And then you have the
Okay.
3 not elements, but the 3 ones, which were green, blue, and red. And Sophia the First was kind of like a collection of that.
yo. So
Eleanor, I'm sorry, go ahead.
with the story of King Arthur, his half sister, her name was Morgan Le Fay,
Mhm.
and then that's where the term "fae" came from
Yes.
to describe fairies.
And there's also the witch of the pond or whatever the hell it's called. But I'll remind me that King Arthur, because I'll come back to that. The Winx Club, which was kind of like the
There's a lot of kid shows. of
fairies. Yeah, fairies that were human sized, but they were like they go to school and they're all like, "Yeah, cool. I'm in school and I'm in the schools."
Oh man, I missed a big thing. Fairies are immoral.
Mhm.
They're immortal.
And immoral.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I would agree.
Charmed did it. The Magicians, which is
That's a
fairly
great
recent
show.
show. Yeah.
That's a great show.
Merlin's, obviously, because we were talking about
King Arthur.
Yeah. Once Upon a Time, which is just the rendition of Fables, but with like the Disney stuff. So Once Upon a Time has like Cinderella and all them. They live in our world, and they're still their selves, but they're not. Oh my God. Oz is all this guy apparently.
I did it a couple of times too. Don't worry about it.
Power Rangers Mystic Force. A fairy is actually a Zord, which
Oh,
was
God.
the Pink Ranger.
Of course.
The Mystic Sprite is what she's called. Shadow Hunters, Torchwood, Zapped. There's tons of other ones.
Was there, the one alien out of Ben 10, even though it was an alien, could we consider that a fae?
Because there's so many different ones from him. Because he had like the moth one that was not fire. He was ice, and he was able to turn invisible. Then there was like the plant one.
Not that we got to see them very often. So
Yeah, because he always did the stupid four-arm guy. Always. He's like, how am I going to resolve this stealthy mission? Let me get something really big and heavy and crashing into things. Cool. The Dreamscape is another big one, and that's. I see what you're saying though. Like a lot of this stuff like overlaps for the.
yeah, that's why I was saying like it's really really tough to do lore mythology beyond a general description, just because it's all folklore tale.
Yeah.
Everything is stories. There's not a huge mythos. They started appearing in epic poems and then moved into folklore stories, and then they started appearing in plays and books, and it just went from there. And now we see them everywhere. They're in movies, books, video games, posters, advertisements. They're all over Facebook, Instagram. Snapchat has fairy filters.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Don't they also have a whole style of baking now? Because they had the unicorn style. The fairies were just about the same thing. It was like really bright pastel colors and shit. And it was like confetti everywhere.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's normally paired with like nature and that type of stuff. Especially with if you see the Tinkerbell and other stuff, like all her fairy friends are like a different season or element or a different like flower or whatever.
Yeah, and cause sort of like going to what you just said, it's like even like nature, we have forest spirits.
Yeah.
They're also equivalated to
nymphs or
tree fairies.
Yeah.
Tree fairies, tree spirits. They're like one and the same.
Yep. Going into books, right? Your examples of angelology, which they're called Anakim. They're servants of the Nephilims, which are short, human-sized things. So that's where they get that. But they have yellow eyes, insect wings. So that's where most of the fairies have wings, but these are like insect wings. You have Artemis Fowl, Bones of the Fairy.
Wait. Since you just brought up Artemis Fowl, I was waiting for you to bring this guy up.
Yeah.
Because it also goes back to something I left out of lore mythology specifically because I wanted to talk about it when we brought up Artemis Fowl.
Yeah.
In that story, he goes back and forth to the fairy world, and in that version of the fairy world, it's like a modernized city almost, except it incorporates magic with everything. And they have like government bodies and whatnot, which is also true to traditional stories of the fairy world. They have this parallel dimension to ours, which is why they need fairy rings to get back and forth. And they have the fairy king.
Yes.
As well.
And
so
there's a fairy king, there's a leprechaun king, there's a king of each.
This is something else that during my research, I really wasn't able to find a definitive answer on. But when did the concept of a fairy world become relevant? That's a question I was trying to answer, and I could not find anything.
Yeah.
With like some things said that went back to Greek mythology as well. Other things pointed to Celtic mythology.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of it in Celtic mythology.
Oh yeah, fairies are huge with Ireland.
Hell yeah.
They're a big deal. But it's like, oh man, I don't even know.
There's a tree in Ireland. Well, there's trees. So like if you ever get to there's a whole highway that diverts its path because of a tree.
Right. Fairy trees.
A fairy tree. They purposely did not knock it down.
Because the fairies will come wreck your whole world.
Yes, they diverted a whole highway to go around this tree. And it's not like it's close. It's like you got a good 20, 30 feet.
You see, like why I had such a hard time, like thinking, like I was doing this research. I'm sitting here, like, I don't know how I'm going to do lore and mythology.
Yeah,
it bleeds so much into everything.
every kind of culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't bring up anything in lore and mythology without referencing something that's going on even in today's media.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I actually did found it. There is an actual baking style. It's just a whole bunch of that confetti shit.
Yeah, show the folks on our Patreon.
I'll go with that. I don't know if you can see or not. Or well,
Yeah.
it's good, but
Dang. So continue on. You have Bones of the Fairy, but that's Faeire. So that's
That's the
a
French word.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Because that's the Celtic way.
Similar. Whatever.
We can steal it. We got it. Chronicles of the Engage World, Discworld, Dominia, Dragons also go hand in hand. Dresden Files, which is a really good series. Like he deals with the Fae or fairies.
Yeah, there's folk stories where dragons have fairy servants.
Mm-hmm. Fable Haven, Fairy. Oh, sorry, Fantasy Attract, Flower Fairies. The Harry Potter actually has fairies as well, but they are.
They're the little kind.
Yeah, they're like little insect type deals. I guess the same type of fairies that you see in Hellboy, the first one.
what
Not
they
the- not the
consider as
new one?
pests in Harry Potter?
Yes,
Yeah.
They just like
100%.
swatted one with a newspaper. Or
Yeah, they're
something?
like weird cockroaches.
Yes. The one guy that makes people forget. He unleashed him in the class, and he's just like, "Don't worry about these fairies."
Oh, Lockhart.
yes.
Yeah.
He's like, "Don't worry, children. These fairies are harmless as long as you have your wand." And then, like, one of the fairies knocks the wand out of his hand. He's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, he's like, just round these up, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
Get him back in the cage for me. Bye.
The what? So the same type of like annoying at fairies. Oh, tooth fairies. I guess you
Oh,
would
yeah,
say.
right?
But the tooth fairies from the first Hellboy. The people are the. It's not. Is it Golden Army? Is it the first Golden one?
Second. That's the second movie.
Is that the one where they released
Mhm.
the tooth fairies?
Yes.
Okay, because
That's-
he's trying to get a piece that's in. Oh no! It's not. It's not Golden Army. So there's like a piece of Samael or something that they're selling at an auction, and the guy releases tooth fairies, and he like eats all the rich people, and they steal the thing of Samael.
No, that was the second movie. It was
Is
the
it the s-
first scene in the second army. It
Oh,
was
okay.
Prince Nuada puts him down and
Okay, then yeah, it's the
Yeah, it's the
second one.
second
Yeah,
I
movie.
feel like
okay.
I feel like tooth fairies are like what we have in the modern day that comes even remotely close to the original mythos, where you can trade a vital part of your body in exchange for a very small amount of currency.
Yes. You're not getting a lot. Like they're like, yeah, you're lucky it's not a penny, but here you go. But the tooth fairies in Hellboy were vicious.
very.
Yeah. Like they killed the crap out of people. The Tolkien has fairies technically. Mortal Instruments definitely have fairies. Mortal Instruments is a great series as well. If anybody's looking for a book series to pick up. My Vampire Older Sister and Zombie Little Sister book. Peter Pan, as we mentioned. River of the Dancing Gods. Shadow March. The Sookie Stackhouse Mysteries. Soon I Will Be Invincible. The Stolen Child, which goes with the Changeling. Stormlight Archive. Stranger and the Stranger. Tough Magic. 12th Enchantment, The Wandering Inn, Treachery of Beautiful Things, The War of Flowers, Langlet Quartet, Wonderful World of Oz, to name quite a few different books for any of our literary people out there. The comic books that you have is Wonder Woman, since she's like Greek and whatever. One of my favorite, as I say, anybody looking for a great series to pick up, Fables is such a great series that they have.
Saga as well, although they're sort of like an alien race,
Yeah.
but they're more or less fairies.
Yes.
So aliens are now fairies.
Well,
Given how many different things can fall under the classification of fairy, that's like
So does
I
that,
would say at least 30% of the cryptids we've covered so far could potentially be classified as a fairy.
yeah.
that is true. So does that mean Greenie has wings?
Yeah. Honestly,
Have we checked?
Ask him.
if you look at the fairies that they try to get away with in Pokemon, that's because what series? is it?
Jigglypuff.
Yeah, it's fairy. The
You know,
that kind of hurt.
Greenie being a fairy would really explain him giving out all those bum directions all the time.
Well, no, he's just
Yeah,
bad
probably.
with directions.
He can't read a map.
He
Yeah.
wasn't born. He wasn't grown right or whatever. He was grown
Actually,
left.
yeah, since you actually brought up Pokemon with this,
Yeah.
I just would like to say that the troll that they did on the 666th Pokemon, they decided to put out the fairy instead of like a demonic looking Pokemon.
Yeah.
I thought that was entertaining because everybody was like, why? It's like nobody expected them to put out a fairy. They thought it was going to be some evil pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah, because Pokemon has its own type that was added called Fairy. So a lot of the old types got updated, and a lot of people got whatever.
Yeah, thanks
Um,
Pokemon for adding to cryptid mythology that fairies can kick the crap out of dragons.
Yes, but they cannot handle poison or something. I don't know. I don't know my Pokemon. Whatever.
Puckwudgies are evil little fairies.
It's true. But they deal with poison. They're not poisonous. They coat their stuff in poison.
But they're magic
yes,
and they metamorph
yes.
and they beat up on gods.
Anybody out there for my Weeboo fans? You got Card Capture Sakura. A lot of those forms, the cloud cards appear humanoids, but they're mostly fairies or elves.
Would Sekirei be fairies?
Sekirei, maybe. I mean, like it's a long stretch in that, like because you said like leprechauns, nymphs, satyrs, other stuff like that.
Lore and mythology. We spend 8 episodes talking about
Yeah.
random cryptids.
Berserk, you have the fairy companion Puck and Valeria. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Digimon, one of the Digimon's ultimate forms was Lilymom, which is like a pink flower pixie. And she has their move called Flower Cannon.
Yeah, pixies would definitely be considered fairy.
Yeah.
Just them little tiny deals.
Yeah.
7 Deadly Sins, Soul Eater,
Oh, yes.
and a whole arc of Sword Art Online. Everyone was just fairies.
Yep.
I heard that was good, but I've never watched it.
Sword Art's great.
Yeah, I heard it was great. I just never had the.
And there's
time
like
or-
there's a shooty one that he probably likes more. Like one season they all have guns.
Yeah.
Except for the main character decides he's going to be a melee class.
Okay.
Everyone has guns, and he's like,
He's the Rock Lee of the group.
I'm melee. Yeah. Fairies are a huge
Category.
tribe in Magic the Gathering. They are known to be blue, mostly blue line, because those are the tricksters or the illusionists or like the ones that are a pain in the ass. Though they
I think
do,
there were a few in green, weren't there?
yes, they do go into green. They also go into black for being that. Black is the let me take life and give type deal. So like, give me your tooth, I'll give you a quarter type deal. That would be, if I would consider them, I would consider them a tooth fairy, a black fairy. I wouldn't consider it a white or anything like that, because that's not.
So you're saying they have colors like dragons in D&D?
Well, Magic the Gathering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like you have the green fairies. You mostly
Oh, dude,
aligns
one of the most annoying decks I ever played against was a blue fairy.
blue fairy deck. Yeah, because they always like counter your shit. They don't let you play anything, because that's like the fairies are just like, haha, no.
Didn't Matt had a fairy deck?
Nah, it was Megan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Shout
I knew
out to
she
Matt
did.
and Megan.
Megan had a blue-black
Yeah.
fairy deck. I'll give her props for that one because it was more beat down, but my brother Jared built it for her.
Yeah.
So props to Jared because he didn't go with the standard blue counter spell bullshit. He
Yeah.
actually went for something that required a little more skill.
My friend Adam, when I played Magic the Gathering, he had a fairy deck too that was about him losing life every turn, but him getting fairies from it.
Mm.
So it was kind of like that. Yeah, I'm gonna take some stuff away from you and turn you into. Sorry, I'm gonna turn you into a killing machine. D&D has tons and tons of fairies.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And I think you could be a pixie, although like it's definitely a high. So like if you can be certain monster things, but like you suffer level penalties for it. So like
Strength -20.
no, it's like so like if your party's level 4, you would be level 1, right? Because you can't be something that OP and be the same level as the rest of your party.
You know the most annoying fairy on the planet?
I had not gotten to video games, but I will definitely I will get to video games soon. You have GURPS, Exalted, Rifts, the Warhammer series, Small Folk, World of Darkness. These are all tabletop games. If you want to check them out, they're actually really fun for people that have time. I've run out a lot of time. Spoiler alerts. Bravely Default has a fairy. I'm not going to go into spoiler. We'll just leave it at that. Tactics, as well as 2 and 3, which are our things here. 14 all have fairies. Folklore, Hundy Pop, Lateo, Mega Man Zero, one of the fire robots is actually like a fairy looking one. Methos, Mother 3, Paladins, Plancia, Pokemon, which we mentioned. Trials of Mana, Rayman have fairies. RuneScape, Shining the Holy Ark, Shin Megami Tensei, which I'm surprised there's not more cryptids in it because that's all about like.
Isn't that the prerequisites from the Persona games? Shin Megami Tensei?
It's the one where you get. It's kind of like Pokemon. You get demons and crap to battle for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sims 3, there was a fairy pack in the Supernatural expansion. Solomon's Key, Tactics Ogre, which is one of my favorite 64 games, but that version is the Game Boy Advance installment. I don't know if he's going to be picked up.
That was the Changeling. That's our in-house fairy.
Yes. The Valley of Unicorns, Wizardly, and the one that we mentioned earlier, Legend of Zelda.
Navi.
Navi.
The most annoying fairy on the planet.
Hey,
you!
listen.
Hey!
Hey, listen. Hey. Listen. Hey.
I swung the Master Sword at her. I can't tell you how many times.
Yeah.
It never worked.
I
It
do
never
wanna-
worked.
I do want to mention
It is
these
immune to the damage.
commercial products before we give to stats. There is a thing called Flutterby, which is like you twist it up and then you put your hand underneath it, and it's a fairy that spins around, and you can lead it in directions.
It's Beyblade.
Yeah, but like it floats in the air.
Let it rip.
Yeah, Fairy Guard, and I feel so bad. There's a video of a girl that's so happy on Christmas Day, and she's like playing with it, and then the guy has a fire going, and she like launches it into the fire by mistake.
I've seen that.
Fairy Garden, Fairy Butterfly Surprise Journal, which is when you open up the journal, a fairy pops out at you and like like spins at you. I guess people like that.
I received a birthday card a number of years ago. When I opened it, weird little spring-loaded paper fairies flew out of the card and then like did this flapping thing and landed
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yep, that's what it does. And then you have a paper towel company called Sparkle, and they have like a fairy that comes up and talks crap on Bounty. They're like, it's like you don't want a towel that can support a bowling ball. You want one that with our sensitive pockets for liquid. I'm like,
What do you do when a company comes out and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna use a fairy to throw shade at you"?
yeah, it's like the quilted disser upper. Sparkle.
Oh, that's bad.
Uh-oh.
Someone messed with my knobs. My high ends on this and the last recording are gonna be so bad. Whatever, I'll fix it.
Okay. Yeah, so stats, strength. We're going to go into
Instead of doing like the general classifications, let's go with the true sci-fi fairy where they're about the size of a human. They have wings, they're capable of flight, and they have magic.
all right, so 5 for strength. If they're humanoid. Agility, I'm gonna give them a 6 because the fact that you can go in a straight line with your wings.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to, like, if I run in a forest and you run in a forest.
Well, they're known to be able to change direction on a dime too. So
Yeah.
the agility definitely the 6 is fair.
Yeah. Dexterity. I guess would be a 5. I don't know. I don't see. There's nothing really per se saying whatever. Charisma. I didn't mention it, but there's an anime that I really like and I can't find, and it's upsetting to me because I watched like 2 episodes. Where it's a guy that goes around in towns and looks at different brothels, but the brothels are various like, hey, this one's all elves. Hey, this one's all mermaids.
That's
Hey,
ridiculous.
this one's all fairies.
That sounds.
So it's like red light district, and you got like, what race do I want to?
Their charisma's got to be good because they're
Yeah.
able to convince you to. Some of these
things, yeah.
deals, these deals that they cut with people are
Yeah.
absurd.
Yes. So I'm gonna go with a 7 ish, 70
Yeesh.
ish. Yeah, because they don't control, like they don't mesmerize.
They're
you
very
or anything.
persuasive.
Yeah,
Stitch is a fairy.
like Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
All right. Alien fairs. All right. All
Actually,
right.
Stitch himself wasn't a fairy. He had a fairy sister, though.
He's a fairy.
It was a
6
science experiment.
So charisma, strength, dexterity, agility,
Intelligence we need.
intelligence. These things are deadly 7s because they can like. Okay, I know what you're saying.
If you can steal
m-
babies and get away with it
yeah,
without anybody ever noticing,
I'm gonna manipulate your words around on you. It's like,
Oh,
yeah.
plus magic.
Yes. Well, that's the supernatural.
Yeah, but I mean,
And
dependent on the intelligence stat too.
yeah, I'm gonna dump a 7 into that one
Fair.
because of the ability to make deals and do things and like maybe shrink yourself or throw dust off your ass and make children fly. Yeah, so like
Actually, speaking of shrinking yourselves, Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement.
Yeah, for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I
Oh,
really
wow.
want to see it.
he's also gonna be a fairy.
Well, he only went into retirement because he wanted to bond with his children and be there for them throughout school. His children are grown at this point.
Oh yeah, and that's
Why
why
not
he's
come
coming
out of
back.
retirement? Yeah.
Yes, I believe it was. Didn't his wife have a medical condition, or she actually passed away?
I don't know his life.
Yeah,
I think it
it's-
was. I think his wife at the time died, and he wanted to spend it with his kids, and
Hey,
That's
he
why
had
he
the
did
money to do it. Why not, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Anyways, did we grade the supernatural?
yeah, 7.
Okay. Damn, that's a high score. They almost there with the puck wedgie.
Because they also cast magic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
They have reality warping effects.
We're moving into
Attention! Combat training.
All right. Time to see how to fight these things. So, I've come across a whole lot of ways to ward them off over fighting. Because let's face it, it's when something has this level of magic, they are incredibly difficult to fight. But there's stuff with it says cold iron and charm, so like amulets and talismans do ward them off. There is, yeah, I said it again. Sorry. Various herbs and rowan trees.
Well, I mean, dude, warding them off, like, how do you kill an immortal? You know? So warding definitely sounds like the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't kill it, repel it. I mean, you could always try and find a way to do it.
You chop it up into pieces, and you bury those pieces scattered.
There's magic involved.
That's what I was taught.
The four corners of the world.
Yep.
Now, the weirdest ones I found was wearing clothing inside out. Apparently, they don't like this. And it's just like, they won't fuck with you if you're wearing your clothes inside out.
Got that covered in my underwear.
I would imagine they'd have to see it, but
is
yeah.
it a 2-dayer?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm just lazy with laundry.
Oh no, I meant like the second day of underwear.
Oh, no, I know. I'm saying it comes,
okay,
it comes out
yeah.
of the dryer, and I just fold it how it comes out.
Uh,
Ew, dude, ew.
oh, it's like that guy in was it Big Hero 6? He's like, I turn him around and then put him inside out, and you can turn around again. That's 4 days of clean clothes. And I was just, wow, this guy's weird.
Anyway.
That's why I said day
Yeah.
2.
There's church bells they don't like. Not a fan.
Well, generally
probably-
speaking, things that are dicks don't like churches.
That's probably some Catholic stuff
Rip.
when they brought in their crusade.
Yeah, their culture absorption.
Yeah. Also, St. John's wort is also a thing. I forgot exactly what plant or remedy that was. You know, this house has old silverware that are actually silver.
Was that a threat? We're trying to cure me,
Maybe.
not kill me.
Anyway.
Yes, but that's squeaking toy. Also, one for the leprechauns, the 4-leaf clovers were regarded as effective. I kind of want to get one of those chickens.
We had one. I checked it. It was broken.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway.
I mean, that's all. I mean,
That's it.
that was a lot of the stuff to defend against it and get them to
It makes
leave you along. So, like amulets.
you have an extra dimensional being with magic powers and it's immortal. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be
There's sigils too that people have
Why
done.
don't you pull out your gun?
You guys believe on fairies? Believe in them?
Oh, all right. You're not going to try to shoot it.
I mean, I've shot several of them.
All right, well, what?
I have to say yes because there's a bunch of things I've said yes to before that are classified as fairies, so I have to go with a yes. I can't.
Considering the broad
If
spectrum,
that's the case, then I'll have to say, wait, did I say yes for leprechauns? I don't know if I did.
You're allowed to change your mind. You can grow as a person. It's cool.
I know. I can tell you that I've grown a couple hairs and fangs and sharp things and a love of squeaky toys. When are we getting this thing off of me? When are the fairies coming?
They're already here. They've agreed to take the Wendigo.
Denied.
Okay. They've also agreed to take the werewolf.
Accepted.
You're gonna have to deal with the unicorn later. She's pissed that you took her snacks, and now you took her dog.
Well,
They said deal.
I'll buy her a beer.
We'll talk to her.
You know what? We'll go out drinking next episode, me and her.
Okay. Ninja, do you believe in him?
I think it could be possible.
Okay.
There's so many for the broad spectrum of what's considered a fairy. At least one of them, in which I think I did say like a leprechaun was real as well.
Mm.
So I mean, with such a broad spectrum of what is a fairy, it could be plausible that one of the hundreds to thousands of types
Mm-hmm.
could be real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I will also agree. Yes, this time.
All right. Are you guys fighting it? I'm not. Fuck that. I mean, not the 6 foot ones. I've shot a whole bunch of them already.
In my werewolf form, hell yeah. In my non-werewolf form, hell no.
Plus, I'm not trying to. They're going to fix you.
Hell yeah, then I don't have to fight him, but
Something
know,
tells me you're losing that 6-pack, though.
a beast. I know, I'm going to go back to the belly. That's all right. The
Whoop, whoop.
weep whoop.
I am curious though. Werewolf with broom armor.
All right, guys. We got to get Andrew over to the room. The management wants to do a physical on him ahead of time and a physical on him afterwards. This is not going to be pleasant for Andrew. They've just passed that email down. The fairies have signed in. They're here. They're ready to do their thing. Turns out we're not allowed to have dogs on the lease anyway. So
Oh,
the werewolf's got to go. Unicorn's pissed. Fairies are taking it. This works out for everybody.
do I get to keep my squeaky toy?
Take it up with management.
I'm saying no.
You're not management, bitch.
I don't care.
If you guys think ninjas should be management, email us at cryptidtechnical@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at BaronlandStew. You can also let Andrew know about his condition. What's your thing? Cryptid beard or beard cryptid? What is yours?
Beard cryptid.
At beard cryptid. We also have Instagram. We have Snapchat. Those are both Cryptid Technical. And then, as always, catch us on the Cast Junkie Discord server. Where we will be happy to chat with you. Peace.